Right now at 5, young area athletes sharpen their skills at a master skills camp. And winter weather ice accumulations inundating 4 states this morning. We're going to take a look at that forecast coming up. Plus, Art Forms Gallery hosts an upcycled jacket jewelry event for locals to get in touch with their creative side.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
And good morning, 4 states. Welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Chris Warner, obviously not in the studio, and that is because once I got on to Old 96, could not keep the car on the road. I was able to circle back, get back home, doing the news from home. Our own Caitlin O'Shaughnessy having difficulty getting to work. So we want to emphasize that it is extraordinarily important that you slow down, don't be out if you don't need to, and take a look at the bottom of your screen. A number of school closings already in place across the area, so make sure if you don't need to be out that you stay home. Now the good news is this ice will melt off as we go through today, but for that morning commute, it is making things very dangerous. A number of slide-offs being reported. Myself, and of course I've witnessed a few on my way trying to get to the station. Let's take a quick look outside. This is our camera on top of the Cornell complex in downtown Joplin. You can see how shiny everything is out there. So this is freezing rain. So what that is, of course, is it is falling as rain as the air temperatures are warm enough for it to be liquid for the most part. However, once it reaches the ground is frozen, and therefore that's what we call freezing rain because it is freezing on contact. Look at Metro cameras from around the area from MoDOT, and you can see all of that shiny stuff on the roadways. We've got the icy conditions out there. Now, a lot of Joplin's main roads were relatively clear, but there's still plenty of black ice and slick spots, and reports from some of our folks who did make it to the station this morning that 69, you see here on the KDOT camera, is a little bit on the icy side. Taking a look at road conditions from KDOT, and you can see where we do have covered roadways across most of southeastern Kansas, and where it's not covered, we've got partially covered roadways. This includes many of the main thoroughfares across southeast Kansas. So again, we just want to emphasize, with this being ice, traction is non-existent out there. No, regardless of what kind of vehicle you have, you can't get good traction on ice. MoDOT reporting similar conditions across southwest Missouri. Most of the major roadways, including big sections of I-49, are listed as covered. And again, with this being ice, it is very dangerous out there. Skywatch Storm Tracker showing that mixed precipitation across the area where we've got some freezing rain occurring out there. So again, with the freezing rain, it's falling as rain. It's a little deceiving, then it's freezing on contact with the ground. As such, we do have winter weather advisories across the entire area, and these run until noon today. And again, like I said, we will warm up, and eventually this ice will begin to go away. Now, we've backed up the future track from last night through today, looking at what we're expecting in terms of ice accumulations, and it's really not a lot, but 1/10 of an inch, 2/10 of an inch is enough to create some pretty dangerous, if not treacherous, travel conditions out there. And as we head later into the day, we could see a little additional freezing rain accumulation in parts of southeast Kansas out there as well. Quick look outside. So this is what we're talking about. Remember, air temperature is measured about 5 to 8 feet above ground. And we're sitting at 31 in Joplin, 30 in Pittsburgh. So even the air temperature is a bit below freezing out there, but you get that ground temperature, and it is definitely below freezing. Temperatures around the region are hanging out in the upper 20s and low 30s across the area. We do have a bit of a wind chill. Wind chill's into the 20s out there, so it does make it feel a little bit colder across the area. As we get our day going, my apologies, I forgot to update this. It's been one of those mornings, but I can assure you that's not accurate. The good news is we're looking at rain chances today, and we're talking about temperatures going into the upper 30s. So again, this freezing rain will transition to rain by late morning, and then outside of that, what we get out there will begin to melt. But for at least your morning commute, it is dangerous out there, to say the least. And of course, we'll have another full look at your forecast here in just a few more minutes. Back to the news side, officials say 3 people are dead after an air evac Life Team helicopter crashed in Oklahoma. It happened shortly before midnight Saturday night. Authorities say the helicopter took off from Oklahoma City, headed west about 75 miles toward Weatherford. However, it crashed near the town of Hydro, killing all 3 crew members on board. The NTSB has taken over the investigation. And police in Oklahoma have arrested 4 fraternity members in the case of a dead Longhorn placed outside of an Oklahoma State University fraternity house. Luke Ackerley, Brody Shelby, Andrew King, and Bennett Fady were charged with unlawful removal and disposal of a carcass, a misdemeanor. The Longhorn was found December 1st, eve of the Big 12 championship game in which OSU was playing against the Texas Longhorns. All 4 men have pleaded not guilty. And 3 Missouri men have been arrested and charged after Missouri State Highway Patrol officers found human remains in a burn pile last Tuesday night. It happened in Cedar County, Missouri. Authorities arrested Bradley Keith of El Dorado Springs, Jimmy Cole of Stockton, and Brandon Choate of Lamar. Officials say all 3 men have been charged with tampering with physical evidence and abandonment of a corpse. The identity of the deceased has not been confirmed. And the Webb City Fire Department responded to a residential structure fire Friday night. It happened just before 10 p.m. Oronogo, Joplin, and Carl Junction responded to assist Webb City. The fire was declared under control at about 10:30. No one was home when the fire broke out, but 2 pets did die inside the home. The Red Cross will be temporarily helping the family as they relocate. And if you're on the go and want to still be able to watch our newscast live, just download the KOAM Plus app. It's available free of charge in the App Store of your choice. All you need to do is search for KOAM Plus. Well, young softball athletes in Pittsburgh had the chance to learn fundamental skills from experienced college coaches yesterday at a Master Skills Camp hosted by the Fast Pitch Masters. Yesterday's camp was held at World Class Sports and featured 4 sections where the athletes could enhance their hitting, infield, outfield, and speed performance.
With any kids that I coach, I love seeing their individual personalities come out, especially as a catcher and as somebody who was a little bit of a standout kid or like a odd personality, I guess you could say. I like seeing every single personality that's in here and all of them interacting with each other.
Fast Pitch Masters travels across the country for their Master Skills camps. And Art Forms Gallery in Pittsburgh invited locals to learn how to sustainably add their own personal touch to their outerwear at a jacket jewelry class. Those in attendance were able to hand stitch, paint, and embellish their jackets or bags. Class instructor Brenda Hayes provided the upcycled materials for the students to use.
I go to flea markets, garage sales, antique stores. I like to find vintage laces and buttons and just anything with a vintage feel to it that probably belonged to somebody's grandma that I can use and bring new life to something.
Brenda says she upcycles all of her art pieces. And board game enthusiasts gathered yesterday at the Bookhouse Cinema in Joplin for a Sunday game night. Some of the games available to play were Ghosts Love Candy, Sorry, Chinese Checkers, and Poetry for Neanderthals. Folks could come and join the fun from 4 to 9.
So what happened was when I lost my wife about a decade ago, and we were playing board games, and we were getting bored with Monopoly, playing Monopoly 5 times in a row. So I decided to buy some new games, and I met other people who like these new games. And so when I moved back to Joplin, I decided to try to fill that need.
There was a 10% discount on food and drinks for every participant. Well, still to come, the Kansas City Chiefs suit up to take on the Buffalo Bills on the road in the AFC divisional round. We'll have those details. Plus, an ancient Hindu temple in Malaysia is planning an escalator update. And we're going to have a look at that forecast again, talking about this slippery start to your Monday. We'll have the latest on that forecast and how long these icy conditions stick around with a check of the forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
It's a plane.
It's Akaushi.
Oh, bless you.
Akaushi.
In Durfelt Funeral Homes, it's more than a service, it's our ministry.
Well, it's been a long wait all week, but the Kansas City Chiefs suit up to take on the Buffalo Bills on the road in the AFC divisional round. Winner advances to Baltimore for the AFC Championship game. All right, Chiefs versus Bills in Buffalo. Patrick Mahomes playing in his first road playoff game of his career. Picked things up in the second quarter. Josh Allen fakes out the defense and goes in to score in the corner of the end zone. Touchdown Buffalo, and the Bills lead 10-3. Later in the half, Chiefs down 10-6. Mahomes throws a wide open Travis Kelce for the easy touchdown. That's a 22-yard completion. Taylor Swift is cheering in the suite, and his brother Jason Kelce also there, loving the action. Chiefs leading now 13-10. Fast forward to the fourth quarter. After a failed fake punt, the Chiefs pitched the ball to Mecole Hardman. But wait a minute, ball goes out of bounds in the end zone, and he's initially ruled down, but the call is overturned, and it's a touchback. The Bills take over, just brutal. Then, under 2 minutes left, Tyler Bass sets up for the game-tying field goal. 2 words Bills fans are all too familiar with: wide right. It's no good. And the Kansas City Chiefs hold on to beat the Buffalo Bills 27-24 to advance to their 6th straight AFC Championship game. So here you have it. Kansas City Chiefs will hit the road once again next weekend to face the Baltimore Ravens in the AFC Championship game. Second time in franchise history that these two teams have met in the postseason. Kickoff is scheduled for 2 p.m. Central Time on KOAM. Winner heads to the Super Bowl in Vegas. In the NFC Divisional, it's the Detroit Lions versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In the first quarter, Jared Goff throws to the back of the end zone to Josh Reynolds. Lions take a 10-3 lead. Next Tampa possession, Baker Mayfield throws a rainbow pass to Cade Otton from 2 yards out. Bucs answer, and we're tied up 10-10. Fast forward to the fourth quarter, game tied at 17 apiece. Jared Goff hands off to Jahmyr Gibbs as he goes up the middle with plenty of open space. Touchdown Lions. Detroit takes a 24-17 lead. The Motor City is starting to feel it. Under 2 minutes left, Lions leading 31-23. Baker Mayfield throws a dangerous pass up the middle, and it's intercepted by Derek Barnes. The Detroit Lions win back-to-back playoff games, and they're headed to the NFC Championship game. So with Detroit winning, the Lions have reached the NFC Championship game for the second time in franchise history in the Super Bowl era. The Detroit Lions face the San Francisco 49ers. Kickoff is scheduled for 5:30 p.m. over on Fox 14. Winner advances to Super Bowl 58. In college hoops, Missouri Southern Lions hit the road for a rare Sunday afternoon game. The women's team looks to win their 10th straight game. Meanwhile, the men's team looks to bounce back after a loss. Women's team goes into Emporia State, and the Lions get the job done on the road. Missouri Southern beats the Hornets 76-43. Lions, who are still somehow unranked, have now won their 10th straight game. Chrislyn Jones led the way for Southern as she scored 22 points for MSSU. And just after the women, the Missouri Southern men's team hit the floor facing Emporia State. Missouri Southern hit some clutch buckets down the stretch. Southern wins this game 73-70. Both the men's and women's team return home to Joplin this Wednesday against Northeastern State. Well, still to come, we'll learn what makes a healthy weight and why changes in diet and exercise don't help everyone. Plus, we're going to take another look at that forecast and those icy conditions when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Discover new opportunities together in a new Chevy.
Newsnow.com. Nominate your Ford State hero today.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. We've got ourselves winter weather advisories out there across the area. As you can see here, all of these running until noon, and that is because of the ice that we are seeing, the freezing rain. So rain, of course, what freezing rain is, as we discussed earlier, is it's falling as a liquid. The air temperature is warm enough that it's falling as a liquid, but the ground temperature is cold enough that it's freezing on contact. And because of that, that's why I'm here at home bringing you the news, because I couldn't stay out of the ditch on the way in. It is dangerous out there. If you don't have to be out, don't. And take a look at the bottom of your screen. A number of schools closed for today because of that ice. So really, if you don't have to go out, don't. And if you are fortunate enough, maybe you can work from home, I suggest you do that if you can. This is a look at ice accumulations, backing it up from last night through today. We're looking at anywhere from 1/10 to possibly upwards of 2/10 of an inch of ice, and we could see some additional ice accumulations over in southeast Kansas later in the day. Skywatch Storm Tracker is showing the freezing rain across the area, and it is just kind of blanketing this area. Heading into parts of southwest Missouri, you can see it just all across the area, scattered out there from Osceola, Nevada, Butler, Stockton, Lamar, Greenfield. We head south, Neosho getting into the thick of it, Joplin, Carthage still in it, as well as Lamar. Mount Vernon, Monette, Cassville, Pineville, you're getting a little bit of a break, but more on the way. So you can see heading into northeastern Oklahoma, Miami, Fairland, Veneta, Chelsea, Lenape, Newata, all getting this freezing rain. Southeast Kansas getting a bit of a break, but later today, temperatures may fall back just enough that there could be some additional freezing rain out in, say, Eureka, Yates Center, Chanute, Fredonia. Those areas that are kind of dry right now could see additional frozen precipitation. Now, just because it's not falling right now doesn't mean it didn't fall. You look at the loop, and you can see we've been dealing with this for the last several hours across the area, so roads are icy across the region. KDOT is reporting a number of covered roadways, and this is covered in ice, and that's what makes it even more dangerous. You can't see it. It looks like water on the roadway. It looks, because it's raining, it's deceiving. It looks okay. It's not okay. You've got to slow down if you have to be out, and be extraordinarily careful where you can be. Stay on the main roads wherever possible. But as you can see on the KDOT side and the MoDOT side, even the main roads are being listed as covered with this ice accumulation out there. And that does include a significant stretch of I-49. I-44 listed as partly covered, but a number of other roadways across the region covered with this ice. And you can see this is what we're talking about. You look at our camera on the Cornell Complex in downtown, it looks like rain. You look at the MoDOT cameras around the metro area, same situation. It looks like rain. It is absolutely not rain. Icy conditions out there, and those that made it into our TV station today letting me know that 69 there, again, looks like rain, looks like wet roads. It's icy. And we've seen a few emergency vehicles going by on these KDOT cameras out there. So again, if you don't have to be out, don't be out. We're going to deal with the freezing rain for a bit, but as you can see, by mid to late morning, temperatures are going to warm up, and then what we're going to be dealing with for the most part across the area is just going to be rain, and rain's going to be the name of the game as we go through the next several days. 31 in Joplin feels like 26 with that freezing rain. Temperatures around the area, upper 20s and low 30s. Wind chills putting us into the 20s out there. We're looking at highs today into the upper 30s and south winds gusting upwards of 25. And our temperatures don't move much. Mid 30s for lows, and then rain will wrap up overnight. Southeast breeze 5 to 10. We're going to spend our Tuesday cloudy for the majority of the day. Temperatures warmer, low 40s. So this ice doesn't stick around very long, but it will be out there. And then we'll see additional rain showers by tomorrow night heading into our Wednesday. Another break Thursday. More showers Friday, Saturday. But look at those temperatures finally doing us right into the 50s and mid to upper even 40s out there. So warmer weather is on the way. That's a quick check of your forecast. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Hi, I'm Dow Quick, and I'm inviting you on a holiday vacation.
When the Thunder take on the Pelicans on KOAM, and that's only the beginning. Thunder Friday nights. See the entire schedule on KOAMNewsNow.com.
Topping Health Watch this morning, raw oysters may have made hundreds of people sick in Southern California. Health officials in Los Angeles and San Diego counties say raw oysters are being linked to about 200 cases of gastrointestinal illness. Officials say the oysters were imported from Mexico and served at restaurants across the region since mid-December. Thursday, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration advised restaurants, retailers, and consumers in California not to serve, sell, or eat certain imported oysters due to potential norovirus contamination. And many of us have being healthier on our list of ways to better ourselves. For some, that may mean losing weight, but for some health experts believe that the number on the scale shouldn't be the only factor to consider when weighing our health. Mandy Gaither has more on what makes a healthy weight and why changes in diet and exercise don't help everyone.
In the U.S., it's long been considered a serious health issue. Being overweight or obese can lead to dangerous problems. But when it comes to the number on the scale, one size may not fit all.
You can't just judge the book by its cover and assume that someone that is larger is unhealthy and someone that is lean is healthy, right? That's the assumption that people make. And I call that practicing street corner medicine.
In the Chasing Life podcast, obesity medicine physician scientist Fatima Cody Stanford says weight doesn't necessarily dictate health. She says it's just one factor that plays a role, but by itself, it doesn't give the whole picture because it doesn't show a person's ability to function and perform at that weight.
Someone who's lean may be very unhealthy, and someone who's heavier may be healthier.
While healthy eating and exercise are both important to health, some experts say not everyone will lose weight that way, and the research around obesity is changing.
What we're starting to see is that there are actually different types of overweight and obesity, different classes. You could even call them class A, class B, class C, and they respond to different things.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta says there are some people who respond better to healthier lifestyle changes while others won't. That's why he says weight loss drugs are gaining popularity because of the number of people they can potentially help.
What the challenge is for a lot of doctors, especially obesity medicine doctors, is trying to figure out which class of people, a class of patient they're actually dealing with.
For Health Minute, I'm Andy Gaither.
Now, Dr. Stanford says severe obesity is classified by body mass index or BMI alone, which she says is flawed. Instead, she says, take a deeper look into a person's metabolic health parameters is needed for a patient, looking at things like cholesterol values, fasting insulin, glucose, and liver function. As look at some of today's top health stories, you're watching the KOAM Morning News, and we're watching icy conditions across the area. We've got a number of school closures out there. Make sure you check below. And again, don't be out unless you absolutely have to be. We'll be right back.
Take advantage of up to $300 off a professionally installed and supplied water heater. Schedule now at gopascal.com.
Right now at 5:30, the Empire Market in Joplin warms up from the cold with its 5th annual chili cook-off. And it is chilly outside now, and we also have ice conditions out there. A number of schools and organizations closed. Around the latest on this freezing rain coming up. Plus, the Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas hosts a women's health fair in Pittsburgh. Good morning. Welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 5:31 on this Monday morning. And of course, here I am. I'm working from home at this point. As we have run into some freezing rain issues out there, not able to get my car on the road long enough to get to the station today. So we've had to deal with that. And some of our folks did make it into the station, but they reported similar conditions. But they thankfully were able to make it in safely to the station. But again, today, if you don't have to be out, folks, don't. This morning, these icy conditions are very dangerous out there. There's been a number of slide-offs already. Some of the main roads are okay, but they're not perfect. And that's why, again, a number of schools and organizations have closed for today. Let's take a look outside. This is our camera on top of the Cornell complex in downtown. And it looks like rain out there. And that's the thing about freezing rain, is it's falling as a liquid because the air temperatures are warm enough, or at least close enough, that it's falling as a liquid. But once it reaches the ground, it's freezing on contact. So a lot of what you're seeing down there, that's not rain puddles, that's ice. Same from the MoDOT cameras around the metro area. Now, road crews have been out. Some of the main roads in Joplin are okay. They are by no means perfect. And because of that, black ice, a major concern. 69 just south of Pittsburgh, also dealing with those icy conditions out there. So again, see some of these folks driving slow, and we've seen a number of emergency vehicles pass by the KDOT cameras as well. So folks, really, seriously, if you don't have to be out this morning, simply do not. It's not worth it at all. Now, again, the good news is this will eventually clear out. Right now, though, KDOT reporting a number of covered highways across southeastern Kansas, and we're getting the same reports from MoDOT on the Missouri side. A number of covered highways out there. And again, this is the problem with the freezing rain, is it looks like just wet roads, but you're running into ice, and it's very dangerous. Freezing rain continuing across the area on the Skywatch Storm Tracker, and it will continue to be freezing rain for the next few hours before temperatures do gradually warm up and this transitions to just rain. As such, we do have winter weather advisories across the region, and those will continue until noon today. And in terms of ice accumulations, backing this up through last night through today, we're looking at about 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch of ice, and we could see some additional ice accumulations, as you see in southeast Kansas overnight tonight, as temperatures do fall back a bit. 31 in Joplin right now, 30 in Pittsburgh. Temperatures around the region, again, on the cold side, but not too terrible. We're into the upper 20s and low 30s, but it's enough that we're having to deal with this freezing rain. You combine that with that south wind, and we do have wind chills back into the 20s across the area. Again, we're going to warm up. We're going to see a transition to a wintry mix, and then rain later today as we get into the upper 30s, but this morning, again, too dangerous to travel out there. Stay home if you can. We'll have more on your complete forecast here in just a few more minutes. In honor of Cervical Health Awareness Month, Pittsburgh hosted a women's health fair Saturday. The event, organized by the Community Health Centers of Southeast Kansas, raised awareness for HPV and the importance of getting screened for cervical health. Exams were available for women between the ages of 21 and 65.
We do breast cancer, we do lung cancer. No one really focuses on cervical cancer. It's a little bit more of an intimate exam, so some people are nervous and don't regularly go to their doctor. And so I actually had a patient this year that was affected by cervical cancer, and she was in her 30s. So I just came up with this idea and reached out to my planning team, and we got this scheduled.
The American Cancer Society estimates that almost 14,000 new cases of invasive cervical cancer will be diagnosed in 2024 in the U.S. Women's Health Fair also had booths sharing information about other health-related issues. Organizers say they want to expand the event to other cities in the area. To learn how often you should get tested, you can check out this story on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Spiva Center for the Arts Saturday hosted a neurographic art event. Neurographic art is a type of art therapy, and it is used to relax the mind and the body. Officials say the style of art encourages the brain to create new neural pathways.
Neurographic art is more of a recent thing for me. I began pour art, and then I do abstracts. And so I kind of added the Neurographica to that.
The event was open to adults from 2 to 6 p.m. And local artists Saturday were able to get their hands dirty while learning to wheel throw their own ceramic projects. The Spiva Center for the Arts hosted the event as wheel thrower Stephanie Roy shared different techniques. The event began at 1 and wrapped up around 4.
I found this class on Facebook, and I've wanted to get back into pottery, and I invited my sister.
I have a dog bowl right now I'm creating.
And I just finished a coffee cup.
The class was open for people 15 years of age and older with a fee of $60 per thrower. And Joplin hosted the 5th annual Empire Market Chili Cook-Off Saturday. 9 chilies were competing in the event, and prizes were awarded to the top 3 contestants as decided by a panel of judges. The event also had public tasting, allowing people to cast their votes as well.
Brings back the old memories from when I was growing up around here. I was born in Joplin, and came around. I lived with my grandmother for some periods of time, and we just got to bond and cook through those times.
It's a way to bring more people into our four-season farmers market during the slower winter months. And every year we've had it grow.
The organization says all proceeds will support the Newton Community Kitchen. The Oscar Mayer Wienermobile was also at the market during the event, adding an extra attraction to those Empire Market activities. Well, still ahead, a new report says Russia has replaced Saudi Arabia as China's top oil supplier. Plus, there have been at least 142 attacks on U.S. forces in the Middle East in the past 3 months. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Sponsored by Aaron Sachs and Associates, proud partner of Travis Kelce and his foundation, 87 and running.
Topping World Watch, an ancient Hindu temple in Malaysia is planning an escalator update. The Batu Caves are one of the most popular tourist attractions in the country, with 272 colorful steps leading to the temple and cave shrines. The site is thought to be around 400 million years old and serves as a religious site for Hindu worshippers. The construction of the escalator would make the site more accessible, according to the management committee. A multi-purpose hall will also be built on the site. The construction is expected to begin after Thaipusam Festival, which this year falls on January 25th. And a new report says Russia has replaced Saudi Arabia as China's top oil supplier. The latest information says China received more than 107 million metric tons of crude oil from Russia last year, a new record. It's equivalent to more than 2 million barrels a day. Sanctions imposed by the West forced Russia to offer discounts on its crude oil last year, and China has been taking full advantage of the situation. That's worked against the West's attempts to cut down on the amount of money Russia makes by selling oil. And President Biden is managing tensions overseas. Several U.S. servicemen are now recovering from a ballistic missile attack on an Iraq air base that was housing American troops. There have been at least 142 attacks on U.S. forces in the Middle East in the past 3 months. Correspondent Lucas Tomlinson has more.
It's the largest attack on U.S. forces inside Iraq since the October 7th massacre, and many White House officials say they don't want this thing to spiral out of control across the Middle East.
We're working very, very hard to make sure this conflict doesn't escalate. And I would tell you, and again, the attacks of our troops yesterday in Iraq and Syria notwithstanding, and of course the continued Houthi attacks on shipping in the Red Sea notwithstanding, no other actor has really jumped in with both feet to help Hamas in this war.
U.S. forces have been striking Iran's rebel army in Yemen for the past 10 days, using warships, submarines, and U.S. Navy Super Hornets like this, launching from the deck of the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower in the Red Sea. Despite the strikes, attacks have continued against commercial shipping. Some of the ballistic missiles evaded U.S. air defenses yesterday and hit a base in Iraq where the bulk of the 2,500 U.S. troops are deployed. Thursday, a $32 million U.S. Reaper drone was blasted out of the sky for the second time since November. General Jack Keane says the U.S. needs to strike back much harder against Iran and its proxies.
I think the evidence is there. Iran does not want a war with the United States, and we have to have a comprehensive strategy. It's not just military. We got to recognize that appeasement is no longer a viable road here.
The U.S. military announcing tonight it has ended its search for those 2 missing Navy SEALs off the coast of Somalia, changing their status to deceased. The SEALs went missing more than 10 days ago after conducting a daring raid against a ship bound for Yemen loaded with Iranian weapons.
And that's a look at some of today's top headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
23 Ford Explorer with 1.9% financing for 66 months, plus $1,750 cash back, only at your Midwest Ford dealers.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 5:45 now on this icy Monday morning across the area. A number of schools, organizations closed. You see those scrolling at the bottom of your screen. And we have winter weather advisories that run until noon today across the entire area for the freezing rain that we are continuing to see out there. So backing up the future track and going back from last night to today in terms of getting total accumulations, we're looking at about 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch. And as you can see later in the day, we could see some additional freezing rain accumulations out in parts of southeast Kansas. And while a tenth isn't all that much, it is enough that it is causing dangerous conditions on area roadways. Skywatch Storm Tracker showing freezing rain continuing, so take a quick tour of the area. Osceola, Nevada, Lamar, Stockton, Greenfield, Carthage, Joplin, Mount Vernon, Neosho, Pineville, all getting in on this action. Cassville, it's on its way, and as we head into northeastern Oklahoma, blanketed out there. Miami, Fairland, Veneta, Newada, Lenapaw, Chelsea, all getting in. Now, southeast Kansas starting to clear out. However, you saw this activity earlier, or well, overnight, and therefore there are still icy conditions out there. Gerard Parsons, Oswego, Columbus, and Pittsburgh still getting in on this freezing rain, and it will continue as freezing rain for a while before temperatures start to warm up by mid-morning, and it transitions to just straight rain, and we'll start to see some melting. But ahead of that, KDOT reporting a number of covered roadways, and the problem with freezing rain is it's freezing on the surface, falling as rain. It's a little deceiving, but it also makes it look like just rain on the roadway when in reality it's ice, and you've got to slow down. That's why I am here at the house. I could not keep my car on the roadway. Don't go out unless you absolutely have to. It is dangerous out there. MoDOT reporting similar conditions across southwest Missouri with those covered roadways. Our camera on the Cornell Complex downtown Joplin, giving you an idea. You see it looks shiny. Same on those MoDOT cameras around the metro area. And again, to the eye, it looks like rain. And the way the rain is falling, because freezing rain is rain that freezes on contact, it's somewhat deceiving. You think, oh, it's just a rain shower and it's just rain puddles on the roadway, and it's not. KDOT cameras showing similar situations with ice-covered roadways out there, and again, we've seen some emergency vehicles go by, so just don't chance it. Don't mess with it. Stay home if you can, and if you have the ability, work remotely if possible. Now, as we head into the afternoon, we're going to see rain continue to build across the area. Temperatures might be a little colder out to the west, and that's why we could see some additional freezing rain accumulations as we head into the late evening and overnight hours in southeastern Kansas, and then we'll go cloudy for our Tuesday. It is 31 in Joplin with that freezing rain falling, and it feels like 26 with a southwest breeze at 5. Temperatures around the region holding still steady into the upper 20s and low 30s across the area, and with that south breeze, we got wind chills out there in the 20s, so it definitely feels cold. As for today, again, once we get past this morning, we're going to start to warm up. We're going to go upper 30s as transitions to rain, and then we'll also be allowed to get some melting done out there. South breeze gusting to 25. As we head into this evening, not a lot of movement on temperatures, back down into about the mid-30s. Rain will continue into the late overnight hours before it does begin to clear out. And that'll leave us in the low 40s tomorrow with cloudy skies, northeast breeze at 5 to 10 before rain returns tomorrow night. Now, the good news is after this, temperatures will remain warm enough with the next few rain chances that we should be all right. It'll just be rain. And take a look at some of those temperatures, maybe even the 50s as we head toward the end of the week with more rain chances by Friday and Saturday. That's a quick check of your forecast. We're going to be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Hero Fund USA and KOAM News Now.
Actually, I do know. I'll text. You drive.
Well, 64 hours to carve your grandest masterpiece in snow. That's the challenge facing 12 teams in the World Snow Sculpting Championship in Minnesota. Kirsten Mitchell spoke to some of the competitors.
We're making two chubby horses.
It may not look like much yet, but Team Mexican Snow is working hard.
We train all year long just to be in shape to do this kind of work.
Carving their vision to life.
Inside is Mexico right now, but outside this is Minnesota.
So you're sweating?
Yes.
They came all the way from Mexico to compete in the World Snow Sculpting Championship in Stillwater.
There is not possible to practice in Mexico because we don't have snow in the city we live in, so every year is like a practice for us.
The 12 teams have 64 hours to carve their masterpieces before a winner is named. This sparsely snowy winter created challenges, but they were solved thanks to snowmaking crews from Afton Alps.
This is like the only place you can find snow in Minnesota.
The cold delivered too.
He's been sitting here just like a little gem, so.
Besides the feet, he's good.
Last year we had to plow the park. There was so much snow. This year we didn't have that problem.
The Chamber of Commerce says last year's event drew 50,000 people to Stillwater.
It's wonderful for the businesses to have such an event in first quarter when it's generally a little quieter. You know, Christmas is done, the holidays are done.
A chance to share cultures and a love for snow.
I like Stillwater because people are so kind and the nature is beautiful, the river and the beach and the buildings.
It's impressive that everybody's from all over the world.
It really is putting Minnesota on the map, and we're really happy that we are able to do this.
Well, those ladies at the end had it right. It's impressive. All these people coming from all around the world, not to mention the incredible things you can do with snow. Thankfully, we're not dealing with snow like that around this area, but still an impressive sight nonetheless. We'll be right back.
Free Me TV 4 states.
Me TV. Memorable entertainment.
Television.
Well, McDonald's is saying goodbye to the seasonal holiday pie and hello to an old fan favorite. For a limited time only, the strawberry and cream pie is coming to select McDonald's locations. The beloved dessert was first introduced in 2012 and was available until 2014. Briefly came back in 2022 for parts of the spring and winter. For the first time since then, the pie made with sweet strawberries and vanilla-flavored cream baked in a sugary, flaky crust is back. Unfortunately, only McDonald's in select locations like Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York City. More will have the delicious pie for a limited time. McDonald's has not yet said how long the dessert pie will remain on the menu. And Subway's footlong menu includes a lot more than just subs. The sub chain announced 3 new footlong items coming to the menu on January 22nd. That's today. Cinnabon footlong churros, Auntie Anne's footlong pretzels, and finally, this one's probably the best, the footlong cookie. The extra long snacks are a part of a new menu category titled Subway Sidekicks. Some fans may remember the footlong cookie from National Cookie Day in 2022 and 2023, but now the extra long sweet treat is here to stay for a grand total of $5. As for the other menu items, the Cinnabon churro is selling for $2, while the Auntie Anne's footlong pretzel is going for $3 with a side of honey mustard. And today's a great day to stay inside. A number of schools and organizations closed. Check the bottom of your screen for those closings. We got that freezing rain out there. We will warm up into the upper 30s, and this will transition to just plain rain, and we'll get some melting done out there. But this morning, it's too dangerous to travel. Overnight lows tonight not falling back much into the mid-30s. Rain continues into the overnight before wrapping up before sunrise tomorrow, leaving us cloudy on our Tuesday and dry as we'll warm up as well into the low 40s out there. As we look ahead, we're going to be dealing with some rain Tuesday night into Wednesday, a few more rain chances Friday and Saturday, but look at the temperatures. They're kind of bouncing around a little bit, but as you can see, they're going to go into the mid-40s and the mid-upper 50s. We'll have a little fluctuation out there back into the mid-40s, low 50s as we head into the weekend. Heading into next week, though, before we get another little cold wave, we're going to go into the low 60s potentially by next Tuesday, before we fall back into the upper 40s by next Wednesday. That's a quick check of your forecast. We've got a whole nother hour of the KOAM morning news right after this.
Tickets on sale now for Joplin Little Theater's next production, opening January